Good evening. It's time for our regular Board Mayor and Alderman meeting on Monday, July 14th. And we've got 4 quick public hearings, so we're going to jump into those, and after that we'll get to our regular meeting agenda. Our first public hearing is a hearing to rezone a parcel located at 217 to 219 Big Springs Avenue from restricted industrial and warehousing I-1 to general commercial C2. Is there anyone here to talk to that rezoning? Seeing none, we'll close that public hearing and move on to the next. A public hearing to rezone a parcel located at 400 to 414 Big Springs Avenue from restricted industrial and warehousing I-1 to general commercial C2. Is anyone here to speak to that rezone? Seeing none, we'll close that public hearing. The third one, a public hearing to rezone a parcel located at 501 South Jackson Street and 105 West Volney Street from restricted industrial and warehousing I-1 to general commercial C2. Is anyone here to speak to that rezoning? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
It was C2 to C1.
I may have read it wrong.
No, it is.
It says, so the one I'm reading now was the 501 South Jackson?
Yes, sir.
And it says what we have here from restricted industrial warehousing I-1 to general commercial C2. Is that correct? Or is that incorrect? Do we have a typo or?
C2 to C1.
If you check ordinance 1655, it says C2 to C1. There must be a typo.
That's a typo in our agenda statement, so you're good.
Okay. We just need it rezoned because the setbacks would not allow anything to be built there.
Understand, yeah. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you for catching that. And we guess we need to correct that for the minutes. Okay. So if there's no other comments, we'll close that public hearing. And then the fourth one, a public hearing to rezone a parcel located at 113 to 115 David Allen Drive from agricultural AG to low-density residential R1. Anyone here to speak to that one? If not, we'll close that public hearing. In that case, will be called to order a regular meeting. We'll have the invocation by Reverend Jones. And the pledge.
Let's pray. God, we praise you. You are the creator of the universe who has made the world for us to live in, and you have made us in your image. We thank you for memory which enables us to build on the experiences of the past. We thank you for imagination, which admits us to a wider world than we could have otherwise known. And we thank you for foresight by which we plan the future. Grant us light, O God, to know the needs of our community and strength to make wise decisions for the benefit of all. Do not let self-interest or greed influence us, but rather inspire us to serve your people. In your name we pray. Amen. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. I guess I should sign in. 6 present this evening. I think Mr. Byrd is going to be absent this evening. Okay. Do we have anybody signed up for comments that you're aware of? Is there anyone at this time that would like to make public comments from citizen period? Seeing none, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. So we have a motion and a second on the agenda. Any discussion on the agenda? It's pretty simple tonight, I think. If not, let's vote on that. I started to say 7. 6 yes. All right, so the agenda is approved. Reports from Aldermen. I think I started there. I'll start with Ms. Wilson.
No report tonight, Mayor.
No report. Ms. McGee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a couple of things. Just great job to Tullahoma Parks and Recreation Department. I did attend the 4th of July celebration, and I think that was the largest crowd that I've seen in a long time. And just the setup was really good, where the vendors were set up in the baseball field. That was really well thought out and well planned out. So thank you for that. And just again, I would like to extend my condolences to the Eggleston family and to the TUA work family. And that's all I have. Thank you.
No report tonight, thank you.
Mr. Blake?
I missed the 4th of July celebration, but I want to congratulate the city. It's really a great thing that we do, is putting on that show. So I'm congratulate the city on doing that once again. That's it.
Mr. Thomas?
Yep. Mr. Tom.
I had the opportunity to attend the TMPPA conference. That's Tennessee Municipal Public Power Association. That board has so many acronyms I can't keep up with them. But there was a statement there made by one of the speakers that I said, this really makes sense. A vision without action is only a vision. And I look at it as we apply it to this board. We took a vision of needing to do something about our roads, and we took action to do it. And I commend the board for doing that, but I also commend the citizens. I've had very few comments, and all of them have been positive, to recognize that that is our goal. We still have a vision. We approved 5 cents for doing something with our city hall. And I think we have 2 options that have been put on the table. I think we're still waiting and have been asked to make sure that we get a cost for remodeling the existing structure. I also think we still have some visions. I think that those who were elected recently, I think every one of us had the vision of quality controlled growth. The problem is, I don't think we have actually defined that as a board. And since it's still just a vision, I'd like, hopefully within this next year, we'll make it an action. It seems to me that I drive around town and everything I see, if there's a lot, there's something being built on it. And my concern is, are we putting the right things in the right places? But I think that also goes with the fact that if we're going to run on controlled growth, we need as a board somewhere along the line to define that. I know there's a 2040 plan and various things along that line. I'll also state it was our first budget for 4 of us. And I think we all do budgets. If we don't, we should be doing it for our personal life. I've done it for my personal and my business. But a new budget actually begins the day after the one that you have approved, meaning that the best budget is one that comes under what you plan. I think our departments do a good job on trying to control costs, but I also put back in their minds too, are there better ways to do it? Because it would be really nice to make sure that our taxpayers won't be looking at us again next year and wondering why we may have to make an increase. So I state those things, and again, appreciate the board and the leadership by our mayor for taking a vision and moving forward with it.
That's your report?
That's my report. Thank you.
I don't have a lot in my report other than to, again, commend all the city staff for the fireworks. I love fireworks, so I'm biased in that regard. I always have, but that was a really excellent event. Enjoyed being out there, and it's just great to see so many people from the community there, and so appreciate that. City Administrator.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Something or other over there.
I concur with everyone. Fireworks celebration was extremely incredible. Is my mic on? There was a question.
I'm not sure, Mike.
How about now?
Yeah.
There we go. Sorry about that. Fireworks celebration was outstanding. And I had somebody come to me, and they really were talking about how this is such a community event, that you see people come together from all walks of life that maybe never see each other during the day or because we're all running and going 90 miles an hour. But talking about how it seems like it was a true painting or picture of what Tullahoma is all about. And it really just hit me. I do want to say thank you again to our sponsors, L&H Distributing, who was our title sponsor, the Rogers Group, Smart Bank, Cass Tennessee, First Bank, TUA, Ascend Federal Credit Union, Vanderbilt Heart and Hospital, St. John's Engineering, and Minuteman Press. We had 22 food truck vendors, which was the most we'd ever had. And going back to what Alderman McGee spoke about, it was very well attended, but what we noticed is the amount of people that were on the football field, Fraser McEwing, and one of my favorite things I remember as a kid is how many people said they climbed up on the roof of their house and watched the fireworks, which is what I remember as a kid that we used to do all the time. So a lot of great feedback on that, and I just want to say thank you to the board for allowing the city to put that on, because it's become an annual expectation, but it's like the event of the year for many, many people. We just closed out the fiscal year 24-25. From a business perspective, we issued 186 business licenses, which is the most the city of Tullahoma has ever done. And it's a 26.4% increase over what we issued last year. So we continue to see businesses that are issued, or that are getting licensed. Now, that doesn't mean that all those licensures are going to be held in Tullahoma. For example, somebody may get a business license but still have a business location somewhere else, a headquarters or whatnot. Or we're seeing an awful lot more of the cottage industry, where you have a lot of businesses that are out of home because of the online opportunities that are there. Live by Hilton opened up on July 11th, and things are great. If you have a chance, I would really encourage you to go by there. It was something that I was not expecting, as far as the amenities they have and the setup is really a good thing. And then the Marriott should be finished by the fall of this year. That's over near the Holiday Inn around Stan McNabb. My understanding is fall of this year they'll be done. New construction permits for new construction in the month of June total to be $5.4 million. Just a couple more things. TAEDC, we're still accepting applications on behalf of TAEDC for the executive director's position. We've had 17 applicants. We're looking to run the posting through July 31st, and then we'll begin going through the resumes. The airport is adding a new software module to their current software that they have, that's going to help us to increase operating efficiencies and to have better financial efficiency as well, as far as reporting goes. So we're working on that right now. It's $100 a month add-on, which is going to be just pay dividends for us in a lot of ways. I have a meeting coming up this Friday with Colonel Mizell with the Air Force Base. Looking forward to just sitting down with him and continue that relationship that the city has, and make sure we understand what his needs are and what the city can do to help with those needs, and then vice versa as well. I want to speak to something regarding the municipal building. That has been on my mind a lot for the last couple of weeks. What I would like to request is, if it's okay with the mayor and the board of mayor and aldermen, is for us to maybe have another study session, bring back those gentlemen that put together that report, because they'll be able to provide you more in depth than what we can as far as the report. They can kind of give you maybe some of the details that we are not able to speak knowledgeably about. So I would like to ask that whenever you deem that to be appropriate, we would love to have that study session and gather everybody back up. So I'll talk with you more about that, Mayor. We do have a paving schedule set up. It looks like our fall paving schedule will begin sometime September, October. Part of that has to do with our contractor. We have to kind of wait for them to come back around. It's my understanding they have a lot of work they're doing with the state right now, maybe interstates and some other things, but we have them on the schedule to come back in the fall, and you'll start seeing a lot of that heavier work done. In the meantime, our current staff with Public Works will continue to work on the roads that they have that they can pave and/or patch and/or repair. Kings Lane and Country Club is coming along very well. The only, I guess, obstacle that we're seeing right now is the relocation of the pole that TUA has. You also have AT&T and Charter services that are attached to that pole. We are looking at probably, we were told today, 6 to 8 weeks before AT&T gets it relocated. So until it is actually relocated, that pole cannot be removed. And until that pole is removed, it cannot be 100% completed. But we're going to do everything we can working up to that point, and it's really up to AT&T and to Charter as to when they pull that. And we'll continue to work with Alan Potter on that, who's been a very big help to us. Last thing is, you notice that Sue Wilson is not here. She is taking a long-needed and well-deserved family vacation in upstate New York and left last week. But we have Paige Jackson, who is our assistant finance director. I think it's very important that you know her and realize the work that she's done. When it comes to doing the budget, for example, the amount of work that she and her team put together in working with Sue to get that done was incredible. So just want to welcome her to our board meeting. And that is all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
A couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
First question, it reminded me of it when you gave your report. When we initially toured that Live by Hilton, when they were starting construction of it, there was another one that started construction at the same time, and either it or us were going to be the first one open. Did we make it?
We're the first one.
All right.
We're the first concept
one
in the world for Live.
So
And,
that's-
and I will tell you, as someone that's traveled a lot, I know, for example, the mayor and some of you aldermen have traveled a lot in hotels. It is the next. It's the next innovation, I think, in hotel stay. And you just need to go by and look at it. It is incredible. You're right, Alderman Glick, it is the very first in the world.
The other question I had was about the paving. Are we still operating under the old contract, or when will the new contract be bid? Because the reason I asked that, with us doubling the amount of money in paving, it's going to make that a lot more attractive to vendors, so we might have more people bid on it, and we might have better bids.
That's true. We just renewed that, and I'm trying to remember.
1 year left.
So we do have 1 year left. We did a renewal on it. We brought it before the Board of Mayor and Aldermen sometime back. But then after that, when it does come back up, I think you're right with the amount of paving and the amount of money we're going to be able to dedicate to paving, that we should have some more bids coming out for that. So
Now,
that's
the
a
oil
great point.
price is going down, too.
Yes, that's what we're all hoping as well.
Jason, I got
Sir.
2 questions.
Yes, sir.
When are we going to get back on doing some of the striping, lining Anderson Street right out front here on the City Hall, Washington Street, going in from Jackson? For this old man at night, when you can't see which lane you're supposed to be in, it would really be helpful.
We'll have to take a portion of that 1.5, reduce the striping. I'm thinking somewhere in 50,000 range. That'll do a lot in the city. Of course, some of the longer streets that we've got to pave, these striped, of course, on the main streets, but we're looking at putting a list together of streets.
Yeah, I thought we already had set aside $50,000. That was discussed back in, I think I
Yeah,
brought
we
it
did
up in
some
January.
out, we did some out on Cedar Lane out there by Hardee's Tractor Supply. We did that. We put some thermoplastic arrows down. We did some of that.
It's, to me, it's a safety issue. The other thing.
Let me
wife call you
just
about that?
on that.
Did my wife call you about that?
Anderson Street is one that's on the fall paving schedule, so that will be included when that is done. And that, to me, is one of the biggest projects that, when you think about people that come to Tullahoma, maybe from Manchester, if you follow the GPS, it'll have you take a right on Anderson versus going over the viaduct and taking a right. So I'm looking forward to that being completed, but that striping will be included.
Also, on our TDOT project on Wilson Avenue and Cedar Lane, I know the mayor and I know I do. I assume the mayor, unless you know the shortcuts. It seems like they're just busy, and the next thing you know, for 2 or 3 weeks, there's one guy standing there with a flashlight looking under the bridge or something on that line. Where do I stand with that, Chief?
So I will agree with you. I remember, I think it was Thursday, where I drove down Collins and noticed that there was nobody there, and it was a beautiful sunny day. So I cannot tell you as far as where they're not there. My last conversation with our local representatives with TDOT is they are definitely on schedule. They are planning to open up Big Springs as school starts. July 31st, I believe, is the date that their teachers maybe need access to that. But it's my understanding that they are on schedule.
Yeah, but that schedule's 2027.
Yes, sir.
And you'd think that if they were actually working on it, that they could exceed that by a long shot.
My hope is they said 2027, knowing that it could be done in 2026, and then maybe get some kudos for that. That's what we're hoping.
I got you.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's move on. Consent agenda. A motion on the consent agenda. Motion and a second. That's just our agenda. So for our approval minutes, let's vote on that. Somebody has any comments? Passes 6-0. Unfinished business, we don't have any other unfinished business, which brings us to new business. Ordinance number 1653, an ordinance to amend the zoning map of the city of Tullahoma, Tennessee, as set forth in the Tullahoma Municipal Code to rezone a parcel located at 217 to 219 Big Springs Avenue from restricted industrial and warehousing I-1 to general commercial C2 zoning district for passage on the first of 2 readings. So we have a motion and a second on that. Is there any discussion on that?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What is C2? Can you?
C2 is our general commercial zone. The reason why you're seeing these 2 Big Springs Avenue rezoning requests is Mr. Dan Markham owns both of these properties, and they're currently used as multi-tenant buildings. They have been for quite a long time. The difficulty is when he brings a new tenant in, a tenant is referred to City Hall to get their business licenses and all of that. And then they're directed to the planning department, and once they get to the planning department, when we do a zoning review, a lot of times what that tenant wants to do doesn't fit in the I-1 zone. So that's created with the 2 or 3 potential tenants that have come in, that, you know, the structure that the space within the building they're trying to rent is not compatible with the zoning. So I went and reviewed the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan shows it as commercial. So in order to kind of solve this problem and allow these multi-tenant buildings to be used as they have been used, that's why you see the 2 rezones from the industrial the restricted warehousing zone in I-1 to our general commercial zones.
So those are those existing buildings that are there?
Yes.
Yeah. This really should have been changed a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's space, frankly, it's an oversight somehow.
And I would like to say thank you to Samuel. He's done an awful lot of cleaning up, if you will, over the past several months of things that have been on the books for several years. So I just want to say thank you to him for continuing to help us get all of that taken care of.
So could you give a quick distinction between C1 and C2, since he asked about what was C2?
So C2s are general commercial. That is, you know, kind of the most widely applicable commercial zone. As far as permitted uses, C2 permits everything that's in C1 with some additional uses. C1, that is our I believe it's central commercial district. C1, you'll see right at the intersection of Jackson and Highway 55 and Old Manchester Highway, where that 7-Eleven is, the school board building. That's where our central commercial zone is. It's clustered around there. The main difference between C1 and C2, though, C1 has less setbacks. It has no side setbacks and only a 5-foot front setback. C2 has, I believe it's 35-foot front setbacks and 15-foot side setbacks and 25-foot rear setbacks. So C1 allows denser construction of buildings between lots. But as far as uses go, they're pretty similar. C2 has more permitted uses. C1 is more like retail and office space and less impactful uses.
But you said C2 has a 35-foot front setback, or is that C1?
That is C2. C2 has the difference.
One thing I would suggest, you might want to make sure there's 35 feet from the road to those buildings.
So
That's a pretty good distance, isn't it?
even if the setbacks aren't there, the buildings would be non-conforming. They'd be grandfathered in, regardless of the zone they're applied. The reason why we picked C2 over C1 was C2 had more uses permitted under it. Since our zoning ordinance does not specifically define a multi-tenant use, we have to try and find a way to fit each of those individual tenants into a defined use, and C2 just has the most defined uses in it. Therefore, it gives a little more flexibility to those tenants.
I know that they've been primarily used for office. I think there was a kindergarten in one at one time.
Head Start was there at one time.
Yeah, there have been several things in those buildings.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? If not, let's vote on this one. Passes 6-1. I'm sorry, 6-0. Ordinance number 1654, An ordinance to amend the zoning map of the city of Tullahoma, Tennessee as set forth in the Tullahoma Municipal Code to rezone a parcel located on 400 to 414 Big Springs Avenue from restricted industrial and warehousing I-1 to general commercial C2 zoning district for passage on the first of 2 readings. We have a motion and a second on that. Is there any more discussion? That's pretty much the same thing, so if not, let's vote. That motion carries 6-0. The next one, ordinance number 1655, an ordinance to amend the zoning map of the city of Tullahoma, Tennessee, as set forth in the Tullahoma Municipal Code to rezone a parcel located at 501 South Jackson Street and 105 West Volney Street from general commercial C2 to central commercial C1 zoning district for passage on the first of 2 readings. So it's correct here in the rest of the minutes. So a motion and a second on that one. Any comments or questions on this one? All right, if not, let's vote. And that motion carries 6-0. And then the final one of these, ordinance number 1656, an ordinance to amend the zoning map of the city of Tullahoma, Tennessee as set forth in Tullahoma Municipal Code to rezone a parcel located at 113 to 115 David Allen Drive from agricultural AG to low-density residential R1 zoning district for passage on the first of 2 readings. Do we have a motion and a second on that? So a motion and a second. Any discussion on this one? All right, if not, let's vote. And that one carries 6-0 as well. So that's all the rezoning requests. Excuse me. Brings us to the 7th item under new business, item number 25-74, a request from the IT department and city administrator to approve the funding of $50,745.20 for additional computer and identity security with annual renewal and authorize mayor to execute the same. With motion second. Okay, we have motion second. Mr. Glick, I did it again. Mr. Quick, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it the rest of my term. You might get over it. Mr. Quick.
This is one that was part of the new budget that we had that was just approved. We continue to look at ways that we can secure the data, secure all the information for the city of Tullahoma, and unfortunately, we continue to have attempts to crack into our system. Cities our size are very good targets based on what I understand from our insurance company, because usually cities our size won't have the resources, won't have the expertise in order to set up perimeter guards and blocks for that. This is just another one of those. I think this hopefully will be one of the last one we'll have that, if you will, we're just continuing to build gates and moats around what we have, and this one will be hopefully the last one that we're going to need for some time to just make sure we're securing all of our data and we don't have any ransomware attacks or any cyber attacks.
Is this done by a service? I mean, we're not doing this by ourselves, are we?
No, that's why it costs so much. So yes, we are getting 24/7 coverage with this. And to clarify, this is the renewal for the computer protection. We're adding on identity. So in addition to our computers being protected, our individual user accounts will also be now protected.
Do they provide any, if somebody does attack it, do they offer any kind of additional service to recover information or provide us from what we may have lost?
Yeah, they have an insurance policy on top of our policy that covers the initial $100,000 or $150,000.
So what we have is through our most recent insurance package through Travelers, we do have that service and that support where should we have an issue come up that we are able to contact the group that is part of the insurance company, and then they provide Adam and his team with the support that they need or that we need in order to get things rectified.
Any other comments or questions on that?
I have one, actually. That was the question, one of the questions that I was going to ask. My second question is, do we have, this was obviously in the budget, just already in the budget, and what do we have coming forward? Because it just seems like we've been passing a lot of IT expenses.
Yes.
So I don't think we have anything else coming up this year. There is one thing that was requested, but it wasn't funded as of right now, so that'll be postponed until next year.
Part of the challenge has been, and again, we've been very fortunate when Adam came on board, that we saw all of the vulnerabilities that we had, and so we're kind of having to play catch up on some of these things that should have been purchased some time ago. But to answer your question, and trust me, I understand the pain of these things, but this should be our last one, is our expectation, unless something comes unforeseen.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, let's vote. That carries 6-0. Last item on our regular agenda, item number 25-75, a request from the police department to approve the purchase of 4 2025 Ford Interceptor SUVs and upfitting all 4 vehicles with emergency equipment through Lonnie Cobb Ford for $233,872. A motion and a second on this one. So a motion by Alderman Wilson, second by Alderman Toma.
So this was also one that was in our budget. We're on a cycle where we replace 4 cars each year, and that gets us on an 8-year cycle to 10-year cycle, 11-year cycle. 11-year cycle, my apologies. This, again, if you remember, especially for our older board members, we had an awful lot of cars that got purchased in the last 2 to 3 years. And again, that was because we were so far behind in our maintenance schedule. We had cars that had been in our fleet for 19, 15, 12 years in which we weren't able to get parts anymore. So now that we're back on schedule, this is one where, we're done. If you'll go back, we had a recent purchase by the police department that was out of the drug fund for the truck. So that was not part of our budgeting process. But basically what we're looking to do is jump ahead. We want to get the 25 cars before they go to 26 pricing. Our police administration has done an outstanding job of securing a relationship with someone that can provide those cars to us on state contract. When I first arrived, usually if you were to have cars that were approved, it would be anywhere from 12 up to maybe 18 months before you could get those cars. You'd have to go order them. Through this relationship, we're able to get these cars. So these cars should, if they're approved tonight, we'll have it purchased most likely tomorrow, and those cars could be here as early as the end of this week.
But that doesn't include the outfitting by the end of the week, surely.
This is completely outfitted.
Oh, wow, okay.
And that's the other thing that this relationship has done. Previously, what has occurred is you would purchase a car, you would probably get the car here, and then we've got to send it back out in order for it to be fitted and to have all of the add-ons that it needed. This price is including all of the add-ons, and they're done on site at the dealership, so they are ready to go. The only thing we would have to do is get them back here, and I believe they do not do our striping or do any of our, so we have to do the striping and all of that. We have a local vendor here, but the process for this is expedient compared to what a lot of other departments are having to face right now.
Good.
Let me ask you a question about our vehicle replacement program. Do we have a fleet program laid out to where you could present it to the board? I know when I worked at Parks and Rec, and we just started doing that, and we had to get a whole lot of vehicles to catch up from years of neglect. But we started out with a program to where it was programmed out each year. We knew we're going to buy these 2, or this one was going to be replaced in 6 years. Or
yes, sir.
Do you have that and could you provide that report to the board? I think it would be good if we could see it, and then we could see year by year. We know we're going to be buying 4 police cars, 3 public works trucks, 1 park and rec truck, or whatever, Yeah,
we do have that. We have a spreadsheet in our, I think it was probably a year and a half ago or not long after, where I provided you a spreadsheet of that, but we can update that for you because we've had some obviously that have been surplused, and then we've added on some over the next year, so I can get you that updated list. In fact, Paige Jackson's the one that usually can maintain that for us. It'll have the V numbers, it'll have the purchase date, and it'll have the anticipated replacement date.
Yeah, because it would really put a face on it that we could identify with, because it does seem, if you look back, that we've just spent tons of money on vehicles. I mean, It seems like every agenda there's $250,000 worth of vehicles on it. And I'm not saying they're not needed, I know they are,
Right.
but if we would have information like this, I think that would be helpful.
Part of it too, from a, by adding those 8 SROs, or 7, now we're going to have 8 SROs, we had to staff those with vehicles, so that costs a lot of it. So we do have, if I'm not mistaken, some grant money when I first arrived that paid for some of the larger volume of vehicles that we were able to do. But now all of this, as you said, Alderman Glitz, coming from our wallet. So I can get that to you, and it's something that we can definitely make available, no problem.
Now, as far as SRO vehicles, could they just be used as like a hand-me-down that was a patrol
We do.
vehicle, and
Yes.
kind of on its way out, it goes its last?
We do that, so it's kind of like that cascading, and so before a vehicle surplus, we're going to make sure that it has gone to every possible department or every possible level within a department before we surplus it out. So those cars typically, you'll see, those newer vehicles are straight for patrol. They're not for SROs. So the SROs would get the older vehicles with the more mileage on them.
Makes sense.
Any other comments about this agenda item? All right, now let's vote. That carries 6-0. So that's the finish of our business of our regular meeting, but don't forget we got a beer board meeting, so we'll gavel out of that meeting and enter into the beer board meeting. Are there any public comments for the beer board meeting? Seeing none, we'll move on. There's no unfinished business. New business item, we have item 25-BB16, approval of the minutes from the June 23rd regular meeting. We have a motion second for the approval. We do. If there's no comments, let's vote. And that motion carries 6-0. And then we have one item number 25-BB17, the request to approve for beer application on-premises permit for Tullahoma Lodging, LLC, 251 William Northern Boulevard. The manager, Mr. Trent White, will oversee beer sales. Do we have a motion for discussion on this one? Okay, we have a motion and second. Any comments or questions? Do we have an applicant present?
He's going to be here. They're not going to have a bar. They're going to sell alcohol if you would like to have it in your room.
Where is this at now?
This is the Live Hilton.
Oh, the Live Hilton.
So it'll be almost like over-the-counter sales. They'll have like a little beverage cooler maybe where you walk in, and then they can purchase, apply it to the room, however they do that.
Okay. Any other discussion on that one? Well, let's vote. That carries 6-0. And with that, we are adjourned.
I got a question to ask you.
All right,
What's
go
the N and S when they put those